Today, I want to talk about relaxation and trance. Are they the same thing? Is it a prerequisite? Does one need to happen after the other? I want to leave you with this idea, guys, because there's so many therapists out there, coaches, NLPers, that focus so much on the relaxation that they're spending all their time to relax a client instead of doing the therapy. And what do I mean by this? Realize this, not all clients can visualize. Not all clients can relax. Not all clients can float above their timeline. Not all clients can do this, that, and the other. Some can, some can't. I say this to say that every client is different. And if you're trying to force these visualization techniques, this relaxation on your client, what are you now doing? You're trying to control a client's mind unconsciously. And if a client can't visualize, but you're stuck saying that they have to be able to visualize, all you're going to do is frustrate and piss off your client. So all in all, guys, I look at things as a byproduct, not a prerequisite. If I'm doing the therapy that I'm doing, using my ACH formula that we have, and my client relaxes, beautiful, let's go there. If my client suddenly goes into a visualization 3 seconds later, let's go there. If my client then floats above their timeline backwards and upside down while having green hair and 5 feet on their body, let's go there. If my client then goes back to an age regression, let's go there. Hopefully you hear my point there. I'm allowing my client to go to these places. You've got to realize all the things like regressions and timelines, visualization, how do they come about? They weren't just pulled out of the air. A lot of the things that were created, these technique things, were seen from the very good therapists throughout our time, okay? They watched these therapists, they wrote down what they were doing, and they turned it into a technique. Now, techniques fit sometimes, but the majority of the time, you're now forcing your clients into something. You look at someone like Erickson, and this is a big one for like regressions. And it was talked about in one of his books. Forgive me, I can't remember what the book was called, but there was a story about this where a therapist was watching Erickson and saw the client say, I'm starting to drift back in time, or something along those lines. I had to paraphrase that. That's sort of where we're going. So Erickson went with it. It's called a utilization principle. He let the client go back, and his language was about going back into the past. His ideas were about what happened in the past, all of those things. And, the regression was born from this. But here's the thing a lot of people don't realize. That was the context of that session. If I watch Erickson and see what he's doing, write down his language, write down his techniques, and turn it into the best hypnosis technique, regression / speed therapy, whatever crazy name I want to call it, what's going to happen? I take that, I forget about the context, I apply it to my next client. What are the chances it's going to work? Very small, because I'm trying to force what happened with my client organically, with Erickson's client, into my client. And it's the same thing with pretty much every technique: language patterns, regressions, visualizations, timelines, relaxation, whatever ones you can think of, whatever these fancy names are. Where are they taken from? They're taken from organic principles of hypnosis. So instead of worrying about timelines or regressions and all of those sorts of things, the best thing you could do as a therapist is wait for these things to happen. The principle you should be adopting is utilization. If my client wants to float above their timeline or having a regression while being frustrated with no relaxation, let's do that, because that's the way that client does trance. When another client shows up, I'm going to start from scratch. I'm going to utilize what my client gives me instead of taking what worked in this session and trying to apply it to another session, because it simply won't work, guys.